Hello, in today's video I'll be going over some of the components of APA formatting, including a title page and a references page, as well as the general formatting of your paper. I'll be showing you in both Google Drive and in Microsoft Word. So the first thing we're going to work on is our title page, but before we get started we need to check and make sure that the page is formatted correctly. We want to make sure that we're using 1-inch margins, and we can see on this document that they are set up as 1-inch margins. In Microsoft Word, you can do that as well by going to Layout, Margins, and checking that they're set to the 1-inch normal setting. You also want to make sure that you're using an appropriate APA font and font size. What's appropriate in APA is Times New Roman 12 or Calibri Arial or Georgia 11. You want to make sure that the whole document is consistent, so you're not switching around between these fonts. You want to pick one and stick with it all the way through. So you've got your margins, you've got your font size. You also want to make sure that the page is double spaced, so you can check that here in Google Drive or in Microsoft Word. Back on the home page, you can check it under the paragraph menu. Make sure that it's 2.0 is the spacing option. The first thing that we'll do is add our page number. It belongs in the top right hand corner. In order to do that in Google, you're going to go to Insert, choose Page Numbers, and then you're going to select the option that shows the page number in the top right corner. Once you click that, it should automatically appear, and you don't need to do anything else in your header. You're just going to double click to get out of that header. In Microsoft Word, you do that by going to Insert, Page Number, Top of Page, and then choose the plain number 3 that shows the page number in the top right corner. Again, you don't need anything else in the header, so you can just double click out of that. The next thing that we're going to do is center our cursor on the page, and we're going to hit Enter on our keyboard to move down 5 or 6 lines, so that our information is centered more on the page. We're going to copy in. I'm going to just copy in the information for you so that you don't have to watch me type all of this. Where did I go? The first thing includes the unique title of your essay. I tell students not to use the same title as the essay or the article that they've read or that they're responding to or summarizing or evaluating, because that is their title. You need your own title. I also prefer that students use a unique title and not just the generic assignment name, but your instructor may have different instructions for you about the title. It should be in bold, and it should be separated from the rest of the title page information by one blank line. The next information would be your name as the student, and then English Department, Delaware Technical Community College, your course number and your course name, your instructor's name, and then this should be the submission date or due date. Not the date that you're starting the paper, but the date that you're going to be turning it in. And I also tell students not to abbreviate this. It should be written out. So not May 11th, 2022, but May 11th, 2022. This is all the information that you need on your title page. It should all be in this order and should all be capitalized and spaced just like this example. So you can come back to this if you need to. We're going to hit Enter until we get down to the top of the second page, and this is where you're going to begin writing your paper. But first you're going to put the title of your essay at the beginning of this page. We're not going to put it in the header. It doesn't need to be on every single page, but this is the start of our essay, so we're going to start by putting the title at the top. We're going to left align, and we're going to make sure that the bold is not still on. We're going to indent the first line of every paragraph by using the Tab key on our keyboard, and then this is where we'll type our paper. Make sure that you're indenting the first line of every paragraph. Keep an eye out throughout to make sure that your font stays consistent. Sometimes if we copy or paste from our article, like we're using a direct quote or something, sometimes it'll change the font. So just keep an eye on it and make sure that it stays consistent all the way through. The next thing that we're going to do is set up our references page. The references page should start at the last numbered page of the report, and you're going to put the word references at the top of that page. So the references should not be at the bottom of your last body paragraph or whatever. It should be on its own page by itself. We're going to center and bold the word references at the top of the page. And then let me switch back to Microsoft Word really quickly to just show you where these settings are in Word. You can center by using this feature right here. We already checked that we were double spaced, so you should be able to, whoops, I just clicked 3. You should be able to enter down, copy in the title page information, make sure you've got a blank line here. Then we're going to put the title at the top of the second page. We're going to come off of center back to left align, make sure that we're not on bold, indent by using the tab key, and then this is where we'll type our paper. So I do want to point out, you can see here that the font changes. What I was copying in was in Times New Roman, but this is obviously in Calibri 11. So I'm going to just highlight all the information on everything that I can get a hold of on the paper, and I'm going to change it to Times New Roman 12 so that it matches my title page and so that it matches my that was harder than it should have been. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the information here, and then we're going to just get down to the top of our last page where we're going to center again and bold again and type references. And I'll come back to this page to show you how to format the reference entry, but let's go back to our Google Doc and we'll do it here. The information that you need in an APA reference is located in the APA resources in the course. Your instructor has probably also provided you with some APA resources, so make sure that you're reviewing those so that you understand how to do an APA reference. This video is just going to give you a quick example of what that looks like. So we're going to left align, and I'm going to copy in the information so that you don't have to watch me type it all, and then we'll talk about each piece and how to format it. The first thing that we're going to include is the author's last name, comma, first initial. For the example, I'm using this article, which is an article that I used in one of my classes, but your instructor may have assigned you a completely different article, so you'll want to take a look at the author's name when you set this part up. So the author's last name, comma, space, first initial, period. In APA, it is very important that every punctuation mark, every space, every capital letter is done exactly right. So make sure that you're paying attention to details and following the templates exactly. The next piece of information is the date. You're going to put this in parentheses. You're going to format it by putting the year first, then a comma, then the month, then the day, and there should be a period after the closing parentheses to end the date part of the entry. The next thing that you need is the title of the article, Struggle for Smarts. Now you'll notice that in the title, every single word is capitalized. That's called title case, right? For the APA references page, you need to switch that to sentence case. Sentence case means that you are capitalizing the first word of the title, the first word of any subtitle, and any proper nouns or adjectives. If you're using the cite feature in a library database, you will probably also have to manually change the capitalization on the title. Also, because this is a web article found online, we're going to italicize the title. If this were a periodical, it was published somewhere in Psychology Today or something, like a printed periodical source that includes a volume and an issue number, then you would not italicize the title, but you would italicize the source instead. But since this is clearly a web article, the title is in italics, and the source is not. So this is the source. Notice that each piece ends with a period. The title ends with a period, the source ends with a period. And then the next piece is the URL or the web address. And I've just copied that in from the address bar of the article. It does not end in a period. Sometimes adding a period to the end of a URL will change the URL and make it inactive. So you don't want to do that. So we have all the information now that we need for this reference entry, but we still need to format the indent. If you are including multiple references in your document, you would go ahead and type all of them out, and then you can do the hanging indent at the end once you have all of your references on the page. We're just going to do this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options, and then under Special, I'm going to choose Hanging. I'm not sure why Google is now asking me to do this. This is a new feature, but if you just put 0 in for left and right, and then the hanging should be set at 0.5 or half an inch. You can hit apply, and then now what you have is the first line of the reference entry will be lined up with this 1-inch margin that we made sure was set earlier. And every additional line of the entry will be indented a further half inch. This makes it really easy on a references page to see where each reference starts. So you don't need blank lines between each entry. You don't need to number them. The hanging indent kind of indicates the organization of that for you. It is worth keeping in mind that if you have multiple sources, you want to make sure that they are alphabetized by this, whatever this piece of information is for each of your reference entry. You'll want to alphabetize the full list based on that. So this covers the basics of how to format the page, how to format the title page, and how to format the APA references page. It's kind of a brief version of the references page. I'm sure there's more resources in the course, other videos that help you more specifically with your sources. But this gives you an overview of what that should look like. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your instructor. You can review the resources posted in the course, or you can visit the Writing Center for additional help.